Blessed day, Earth family, soul family. Welcome back to the Martial Mystic calendar series. I'm Javi, and we are in February. It's Monday, so we're doing a Monday installment. And we're also, because it's the beginning of the month, we're looking at the calendar, the poetry for this month's calendar. And because it's Monday, we're going to be looking at purity of thought as it's Mental Health Monday. We'll be talking about a couple of other things, the theta shift. We'll be talking about focus. Um, we'll be talking about distilling of thoughts. Should we stop thought? How do we quiet the mind? How do we use the mind to regulate the mind? This is what my teacher would often pose to us. How do you use your mind to regulate your mind? And essentially, we'd often be talking about discipline. How do you use your mind to discipline your mind? In the context of New Year's resolutions and New Year's regulations, as you're trying to form new habits or as you're trying to um, get rid of undesired habits, how do you regulate yourself? That's how we get the phrase, how do you use the mind to regulate the mind? How do you do something and get yourself to do something that you essentially don't want to do? And it could be like meditation, could be walking, could be running, it could be um, a gratitude practice. And it could be, we talk on Thursdays about conflict and resolution. It could be engaging in an uncomfortable conversation. And it all comes back to skill. How do you build the skill to do these things? Let's review January's quote. Remember that if there's an initiation of a thought, then everywhere is fire. If that thought produces inflammation or emotion, then potentially you have fire after fire after fire. If you're in a conversation and you're responding to fire with fire, you only escalate and produce more fire. How do we de-escalate? And the quote tells us that there is a quiet place where the millions of affinities come from, and that quiet place is the source and the destination in Tai Chi terminology, Wu Ji, plane of possibility, God, source. But from that place where all thoughts are ceased, then the spring can blossom. And the spring is the Tao. The spring is when you've meditated and you have a moment of clarity where an idea or a thought comes in and you feel it resonate within your body, within your intellect, and within your heart, and you can sense and feel that is the appropriate course of action. There's a moment of confidence, clarity, insight, and one step forward. In February's quote, we're looking at thoughts still. And the passage says, do not be afraid of the initiation of a thought. So this is almost continuing from last month. Don't be afraid of the initiation of a thought. Well, welcome the thoughts. Don't try to stop them. Welcome the thoughts. However, be afraid of the delaying of its perception. Be afraid of the delaying of the perception of the thought, the awareness of the thought. Because a thought can come up and you react and you respond to that thought. And then it's not until later that you realize you reacted to a thought. Be afraid of the delaying of the awareness of the thought and the downstream effects of that thought. So this has to do with the awareness of the thought. Watch that place and that space between thoughts. If you can't be conscious of your thoughts, try to be conscious of your words. If you can't be conscious of your words, be conscious of your actions. And here's where we are too in today's society. If you can't be conscious of your thoughts, actions, and words, be conscious of everyone else's and learn from those. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that, how we learn from the words and the actions of others. It's easy to point the finger and it's easy to see and show how everyone else is wrong, but it's hard to look inside. It's hard to point the finger back at oneself. But every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around. So if you're looking for lightness, if you're looking for ease, comfort, last week we talked about what's the space that you live in. If you're looking to live in a space where you're relaxed, calm, and at ease, you have to look at your thoughts. You have to look at the thoughts fill the vibe of your temple, that your body and of your space, and that's what you carry into the world. So we'll be talking more about this quote. And in regards to Mental Health Monday, purity of thought, purity of thought. The awareness and the delaying of awareness is a little bit of the issue when it comes to mental health. If we're talking about mental health, then we're talking about the landscape of the inner world. And we have to define mind. So we have to go through Dan Siegel's definition of the mind um, to look at how we define mind. How do you define mind? Where does mind exist? Where does it not exist? And when it comes to our own mental health, what is the role that the thoughts play? Can we achieve purity of thought? Do we have to um, stop our thoughts? Do we have to avoid our thoughts? Do we have to combat our thoughts? So it takes focus. It takes focus to look at oneself and to address areas of interest, areas of opportunity, and to apply focused effort. So we're going to look at a video from 100 Days Sitting. This is a playlist that you can find on my YouTube channel, Qigong and Tai Chi with Javi and Nona, 100 Days of Sitting. And here is day two. Day two, where we talk about if you want to address the mind, if you want to address mental health, physical health, anything at all, what is it that you need? How do you use the mind to regulate the mind? To build a sustained continual focus ability is so important for me. Regardless of what you're trying to do, trying to learn something, listen, build skill, study, interact with somebody. So how I respond is, what's your why? What is your goal? What are you trying to do? You trying to learn a new form? Do you want to just improve a skill? Do you want to improve your relationships? Do you want fitness? Do you want wellness, health? So I go back to sitting. How are you managing your energy? Sitting takes you into your mind, into your body, connects them with your breath, and addresses issues of misplaced energy, unmanaged energy, lack of efficiency in your structure. So that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're trying to assess in sitting. Not only that, but staying aware, focused, staying mindful when you're sitting, standing, and moving. Staying mindful of your feelings, your emotions. My teacher always asked, do you have control of your life? Do you have your life, or does your life have you? And that goes back to your why. Why do you do the things you do? What is your goal? What is your focus? You need to build focus first in order to have focus, to have an intention. So let's begin. This is day 2. And let's just go right into the breath. We're going to go 3 deep breaths, abdominal breathing. Sit in a chair, sit in your bed. You can lay down, whatever. Just relax. Take a second for yourself right now. This is only going to be 5 minutes or so. Okay. So the opportunity that sitting provides is preservation. The effects of preserving energy. It takes focus, it takes energy, it takes an allotment of resources to look at one's mind and one's mental health. And wherever you go, your mind is with you. If it's depleted, it's not optimized and it's not operating to capacity. If you're nourished and if you're rested, you've got an abundance of energy. But the question is how are you using it? If you're maintaining some energy to focus on yourself and you're using it to nourish, that's great. So that movement or that video again just talks about the function and the opportunity that is provided when you just sit with your mind and with yourself. Just that skill and technique has many benefits, partly being preservation of energy because you're not moving your body. And then also lower distraction because you're not moving your body from here, there, or anywhere else. You're limiting the sensory data that's coming in. And then so when you're sitting by yourself and with yourself, now you have the ability to look at the inner landscape, nature Gong Fu, internal vision, the Kung Fu of internal vision. How deep can you go? Lastly, let's look at the theta state. The theta state, this is from my playlist, the Martial Mystic Introductory Course. And this isn't public, but I can share this with you if you reach out and ask me, and I can share this with you. But this is a course that's available for purchase. But I'll share this little clip here with you. What is the theta state? The theta state, it refers to that brain state where it's called a semi-sleep state. And this is the hypnotic state. This is the relaxed state and foundational for the Qigong and meditative state. Video, you're coming in from your life and from the things that you're doing. What is your state of being? Are you hurried? For a lot of times,
For a lot of us, in a lot of moments of the day, we find that we're hurried. If we're hurried, we're not at ease, calm, relaxed, right? That's why we have to do all of these recovery exercises, practices to induce our rehabilitation, to um, recycle and also um, gain energy as we've depleted and given our energy away, oftentimes in a hurried state. Okay. So the theta shift is shifting to the relaxed state, shifting to the state of ease, shifting to the state that'll connect us to the semi sleep state. And then shifting to, if we're laying down, shifting to from semi sleep to sleep, shifting from sleep, shifting from semi sleep state, shifting from semi sleep to waking, and then all the various states of being that we have in our waking state. So there's a concept of awareness in terms of noticing the shift, and then there's the concept of the theta state, the semi sleep state. And the mechanism is going to be the breath as a strategy. So for this particular video, we're going to utilize the exhale. We're going to utilize the exhale. The exhale, because with the yin yang of breathing, inhale, yin, exhale, yang, right? And with the exhale, we're releasing. With the exhale, we're
So this video continues and starts to go into how to shift into theta state. And I forget what state we are walking, what it is that we're walking in when we're up and out and about and doing things in everyday life. When we start to engage these practices of meditation, focused attention, mindfulness, hypnosis, we we go into this theta state. However, how is it that your nervous system tells you that you have reached it? And so, one good way to start to think about this is, can you watch yourself fall asleep? Are you able to watch yourself fall asleep? This is often a question that I've asked and that I've looked into is, can I witness myself falling asleep? Can I witness the process by which I fall asleep? Can I witness it incrementally as I go from waking to semi-sleep and then to sleep? And then how can I maintain conscious awareness? That is a challenge and an exercise. But that takes us to mental health. We talked about allotting energy to look at oneself. And this takes us back to purity of thought. If you can look at yourself, you can look at your thought. And you're not trying to say this thought's bad, this thought is good. We want to go beyond good and bad and accept where we are. We want to accept where we are, look at where we are. In Resolution Thursday, we talk about how to clean, purify, and distill. Like a snow globe, you shake it, but when you let it sit, everything settles. This is a similar process to when we sit and meditate, the settling. That doesn't mean that the things are gone, they've just settled. And so in Tai Chi Chuan, we're going to talk about this on Tai Chi Tuesday, but in Tai Chi Chuan, we talk about regulating the body to the goal of transparency. That means the energetic state has come into awareness and the nervous system has registered, for lack of a better term. But how that feels is a similar way to when we feel when things are not so heavy upon us. When we're holding things and struggling with in things, and when it's life, living, and living in and amongst the world, and the thoughts are heavy, and the responsibilities and duties are heavy, this takes away from our feeling of transparency, ease, calm. And Tai Chi provides the opportunity to open all of the channels, the meridians and the vessels and the gates to provide circulation. And that circulation provides the feeling of transparency. And when you're feeling transparent, you're feeling light. So that is an embodied feeling of purity. We talked about in mental health, we talk about the bottom up approach. The bottom up is facilitating health in the body to affect the health in the mind. That's in contrast to mental health, top down, intellectual therapy or reading or mantra or singing a song to produce the downstream effects into the body. Because mental health, how do you know when your mind is healthy? You feel a sense within the body. You have an embodied sense and experience within the body that is registered by the nervous system. And in Tai Chi, we talk about how the feeling is the communication pathway between mind and the body. Feeling, the nerves and the nervous system, is the communication pathway between the mind and the body. So that's Mental Health Monday, and we'll be talking more. I'd love to get a direct message. I'd love to get a comment from from you guys. And remember that we are available for consultation, and I also have courses available at yinyangtaichi.org, where I also have mental health resources and a mental health course, and um, one of my flagship courses, aside from the martial mystic, is Yin Yang Tai Chi, downloading nature's intelligence. When we're able to quiet the mind, when we're able to facilitate that theta shift and go deep, we can connect with nature as we are a part of nature, and we are given a download of its intelligence. That's why sometimes I like to say that what we think is our intellect and what we think is our mind, our sharp minds, is actually the artificial intelligence. When we connect to nature's intelligence, we see that that's the real intelligence. But all these um, plots and schemes and thoughts and thinking that we have in our minds, and the rights and wrongs that we um, think we have about the world and about ourselves, are that's actually relatively our artificial intelligence. So again, you can go here to book and schedule a consultation for 30 minutes for free, or 1 hour for 30 for 1 hour for $50. But also there's courses here for five private courses. You can learn about mastering the spine wave, the softness and the articulation of the spine, and embodied softness, which helps lead to the mental health. If you can affect your spine, soften your spine, You then, because it's the center line, you then affect that body and that sense of embodiment in softness. That helps lead to the mental health um, effects and benefits. Four Seasons Qigong course, Tai Chi for better balance. Take a look at what we have here. Love to extend those offers and services to you. Until next time, see you tomorrow. Embrace the woo and may your chi flow smoothly. Take care.